Within this video, I am uncovering the 6 trends to look out for in 2025. Now, Pokemon investing is a booming arena, and every day more and more people enter the hobby, and every passing day, older collections begin getting more scarce. Now, within this video, I'll be doing some future forecasting of what I believe will be some of the biggest trends to look out for within 2025. Now, future forecasting is a very important aspect when it comes to any form of investing in any other areas of life. So, as a lot of you know, my career expertise is in marketing, and I try blend my career expertise with Pokemon collectibles. Now, here's the thing, right? In marketing, we do a lot of future forecasting. When we create a campaign for a client, we always need to create a report projecting how we see the campaign performing. Now, is this 100% accurate? Absolutely not, though it does work as a reference point, which ultimately is a benchmark which we try to achieve. Now, how do we create future forecasting reports for a marketing campaign success? Well, we do it by looking at previous data and trends that have worked before, and we assume that they will work in the future. So when it comes to Pokemon investing, we can use the same rationale. Nothing is guaranteed, though we can look at what worked before, and then we can forecast that it will work again, and we kind of assume the same intention. Does it mean that it will happen? Absolutely not, though it does work as a guide. If we look at a real simplified example, right? Let's just look at Charizard, right? And I'm making this purposefully as simple as possible. So if a set is releasing and Charizard is one of the top chase cards in the set, we can assume that it will be a moderately to a very expensive card. And why can we assume that? Well, if we look at any Charizard cards that are the top chase cards in any set, we can see that their values always hold and they have consistently shown to be performing well. So for this reason, we apply the same intent for the future. Now, of course, this can get very broken. So if say a Charizard card one day doesn't perform well or crashes crazily in value, it could potentially ruin the trend and then ruin the confidence. Though for now, I think most collectors and enthusiasts could agree that we can confidently count on Charizard cards. Though of course, the surprises are what makes this the best part. Who thought that a Magikarp would be one of the most desired cards in the Scarlet and Violet era? And I think that we will see much more of this, which I'm going to explain a little bit later on in this video. Though for now, the first trend that I think we can count on is expect much more people to enter the hobby. So there's a really good rule in life, right? If something isn't growing, it is dying. We like to think of areas as stagnant, but being stagnant is more of a myth. We are usually either growing or declining. Studies show that when businesses or people try to stay the same, they often actually see a decline rather than growth. Now, the Pokemon hobby as well will rarely stay the same. The hobby at any given point is either growing in popularity or it's slowly falling off. And I believe 2025, we will see a massive surge of growth in popularity with new sets, new collectors, and far more focus on the crazy value of Pokemon cards. It just gets people talking. When something like Pokemon cards consistently hold their value and are proving year on year to show that they grow in value and hold their value, it begins inspiring confidence. Now, don't forget that we also have Pokemon TCG Pocket and new innovations. So Pokemon is investing heavily into their growth of their TCG, and as they do this, the market share increases and the people entering the hobby also increases. Now, this actually provides a lot of benefits for people who have been involved in the hobby for a long time, and it's also great for newcomers. For older collectors or veterans, this means older products and cards and booster boxes will begin becoming more valuable and more popular as newer collectors begin researching older sets and they just look at their previously desired chase cards. And for newer collectors, this is great as there's a bigger buyer pool for cards, meaning if you crack open a booster box or you decide to sell off some duplicates, you will have the buyer market available to make back some of the costs, which is imperative when you're dabbling in such an expensive hobby. Though, with how popular Pokemon collectibles and investing has become, I think this is something to get excited about. Also, before I get into the second trend, I just want to say if you have been enjoying the content so far, please feel free to like the video and also feel free to subscribe to the channel. I cover a lot of topics relating to Pokemon collecting and Pokemon investing. Now, the second trend is expect a shift in the perception of alternative investing forms. Now, as the years progress, it seems alternative investing forms are becoming slightly more mainstream and slightly more accepted. And I wouldn't call Pokemon investing mainstream at all, though I do feel the notion of alternative investing forms are becoming more accepted and less stigmatized. Now, obviously, as I run this Pokemon investing channel, I get a lot of comments and then sometimes people saying, oh, you know, Phil, these are Pokemon cards, it's a children's card game and blah, blah. You know the drill, right? Though it's hard to deny the data and facts. And the facts say Pokemon products and Pokemon cards show consistent growth over the years and they are incredibly resilient. I mean, if they weren't, why would this YouTube channel even exist? The whole reason I can build content around this topic and have an audience is because so many people are aware of the incredibly crazy value of Pokemon collectibles. Though I feel other areas may also increase in popularity and we will see exciting things pan out. Also, don't forget Pokemon's original audience who started back in the 90s are getting older and older. And if we look at how income increases with age, this means these collectors will have more disposable income to spend on their hobbies. Now, the third trend is expect Pokemon Center exclusive items to become even more popular. Now, Pokemon Center products are hot right now, though truthfully, we've only really seen them playing out properly within the Scarlet and Violet era. This is because the Scarlet and Violet era includes the promo cards inside the ETB, along with having the unique promo stamp. As we see these becoming more part of the status quo, I feel we may see a huge uptick in the desire for Pokemon Center exclusive products such as ETBs. Not only that, but Pokemon Center has just recently expanded their list of countries. I mean, even here in Australia, we can now order Pokemon Center ETBs. So as their reach begins growing, we can assume more collectors will also want these products, and that just makes them more desirable and more collectible. So definitely keep an eye out on these. I personally am a massive fan of Pokemon Center promos and products because I just really love their exclusivity. Now, moving on to the fourth trend, which is seeing more unique Pokemon become chase cards. So we saw this a little bit within 2023 and especially 2024, and Pokemon that aren't your major hitters saw some huge fan desire. You know, we did see Magikarp become a global sensation, and you know, we saw Raging Bolt and Iron Crown also become very desirable. Though I feel 2025 will be the year where we actually see some really unique Pokemon get special illustration rares and also become super desirable chase cards. I mean, man, there is a lot of Pokemon out there and a heap of them haven't even got their time in the sun. There's hundreds of final stage evolutions and I feel collectors will be more than happy to welcome some of these new cards in the hobby. The reality is, if the artwork is top tier and looks great, along with the card being rare to pull, it will bring in fan demand. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see some really out of left field Pokemon gain popularity. Now, moving on to trend number 5, it is get ready for Mega Evolution cards to boom, both past and future. So if you're unaware, Generation 6 started the gimmick phase, right? And to a lot of Pokemon fans, some people get slightly worried for what the next crazy gimmick will be in the next generation because, you know, it does get a lot of scrutiny whatever comes out. You know, before we had Mega Evolutions, Pokemon generations were far less flashy than today and things stayed relatively the same. Though with the inception of Mega Evolutions, Pokemon has followed a consistent trend of gimmicks. You know, with Generation 7, we had Z moves, and then we had Dynamax in Sword and Shield, and now we have Terrastalize in Generation 9. Though, while a lot of fans complain about the gimmicks, it seems Mega Evolutions are the beloved gimmick that should have become a mainstay. And truthfully, a lot of people thought that they would. I mean, Mega Evolutions did carry on over to the Sun and Moon games, and even the Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee games had them available. Though, with the new Legends ZA game releasing in 2025 and the TCG expansion that will follow, I believe Pokemon fans' most beloved gimmick will become super desired when it comes to the TCG. One, because there's just so much nostalgia for Generation 6, and we can just see that with how popular Greninja is. And two, the 3DS era was one of the biggest eras in Pokemon, so many fans entered the hobby and they also missed their Mega Evolutions. So definitely keep an eye out on these, and also don't count out the older Mega Evolution cards, they are still quite collectible. Now, the sixth trend is expect a new era-defining set. So era-defining sets are rare, though they do come. I mean, we had one with Evolving Skies, we had another with Pokemon 151, and it seems 2025 we are due for the next era-defining set, one that really shakes up the game. Now, obviously these are not guaranteed, though I do feel for the TCG to continue growing, Pokemon understand that they need to deliver the heat to ensure people stay engaged. However, it's always a good idea to budget carefully to ensure that you can buy these sets, and sticking to a budget while collecting Pokemon is very important, and I actually reveal the best ways to do that within this video here. Budgeting and collecting are often not discussed, though I feel it should be addressed far more often. If you love collecting, click this video that's appearing on screen right now to learn more about that topic. I'll see you there.